A very ambitious, grand project, which the north of England desperately needs. Also quite exciting.
Very exciting. I think it could be a game changer for our club, for the city and for the region.
People will say yesterday there was all these quotes from Sir Jim Ratcliffe saying the club would have gone bust had you guys not made the changes that you have with the redundancies, cost cutting. Today there's this shiny new 100,000 seater stadium plan, and they might try and put the parts together. So can you explain to those people?
Well, we've always said that our number one priority is to get the position and the club in the best financial position to be able to invest in players and in infrastructure. So the plan that was described yesterday by Sir Jim shows the ambition of where we want to be, and we want to be the most profitable club within the next 3 years, and that's going to put us in a very good position to be able to invest in projects like the stadium. We think the stadium could be the catalyst, the centerpiece for the wider regeneration project, and we want to make sure that we can build the most iconic stadium for the biggest football club in the world.
Now, fans will be very delighted to hear that the 10-year timescale can be cut down to 5 years. They'll also be wondering how the stadium is going to be paid for. Now, I know you guys have said you don't need government funding for the stadium itself, just the wider regeneration. Naming rights opportunity, other investment opportunities?
We're looking at all the options. It's still very early days. We do see this as a very attractive investment opportunity, again, as part of the wider regeneration project. So we're quite confident that we will be able to find ways to finance it and then work with the government to put in place a very, very emblematic and fascinating regeneration project.
From a personal point of view, when you saw the plans, what excited you the most about the look, the feel, the design of the stadium?
I've never seen a design like this one. It's really unique. We use the word iconic a lot, but it is. You've seen many stadiums that have been built or redeveloped over the last years, but I haven't seen anything like that comes close to being as attractive and beautiful as what we've been shown today.
And I think the final thing supporters will want to know, because they've been desperate for a new stadium, one that they feel is befitting of Manchester United. Will they have a team turning out that's befitting of such a historic venue, iconic venue, like you said, and of the Manchester United heritage?
Yes, that's our aim. Our aim is to win. Our aim is to have a team that can compete at the highest level, that can compete to win all the trophies, all the major trophies, both men and women's. And this is what we think about every day, and this is our number one goal.
Thank you so much.
That's Omar Berrada there. Let's hear from Lord Coe right now, who is the chair of the Old Trafford Regeneration Task Force. He's also been speaking to our senior reporter, Melissa Reddy.
Seb, you've been involved in some really extraordinary projects. You said this is the most exciting and potentially the grandest and has the ability to be the most transformative.
Well, they've all been exciting projects. Clearly, the development of the Olympic Park in East London was hugely exciting, and then obviously to be in the leadership of a team that delivered the games. But I genuinely think this has a bigger potential. We're talking 20 years on. But the thing I'm most proud about is, yet again, sport sits at the heart of a regeneration story. And we know that if you create sporting opportunities, then there are lots of things that flow from that, particularly for young people in hard-pressed communities.
There was a lot of due diligence done on whether Old Trafford should be regenerated or whether there should be a new stadium built, and you were leading the task force to decide that. Was part of your thinking the fact that if there's a new 100,000-seater stadium, as beautiful and wondrous as that is, it could also mean the team could continue playing at Old Trafford?
Yeah, look, you sort of summed up quintessentially some of the challenges around that. The task force was asked to look at a range of options, and we created actually an interesting narrative. There was one overarching sentiment that grew dramatically throughout the early months of the task force, and that was just the recognition of how powerful this project could be. And so whether it was a refurbished stadium or a new build, we really wanted to have a project that squeezed every ounce of potential into the regeneration of an area through housing, through business, through educational opportunities, through green space, through livable communities. All this, again, I'm very proud, is, the hallmark of a great sports policy.
And then with that, trying to create or make sure there's as little detriment or upheaval to the team as well in that process.
Yeah, there are a number of competing and conflicting challenges you have. The first is to make sure that you communicate liberally and openly with local communities. They're the most important client group. It's really important that you don't just assume that, everybody understands what you're doing, and the consultation process that took place amongst local residents. The task force has been involved in that. We've also done a lot of surveying and discussions with the fan base as well, because it's their club, and I know as a football fan, you're very tribal about your own football club. So all these things have to be managed, and, different horses ridden at different paces. But I think we're moving in the right direction. And critically, we've also got unanimity across the political divide, and a chancellor that recognises, and a government that recognises that this is a very important part of the government's growth agenda. So, yeah, still some way to go, but we're in good shape.
It is an important part of the government's growth agenda, and it can be the nucleus. As Sir Jim Ratcliffe said, he also said Manchester United won't seek government funds for the building of the stadium, just the wider transformation of the area. Having been involved in projects like this previously, do you think there's a lot of scope for investment? It would be seen as an exciting investment opportunity in terms of things like naming rights for the stadium and such.
Yeah, absolutely. There is massive commercial potential around a stadium with the kind of ambition, and for a club that is one of the biggest, most powerful and recognisable sporting properties on the planet. So that is a really important platform, and Sir Jim is right. That's for the club to design and to construct, and that's the stadium and all the other commercial things that can and should flow from it. But I think the task force was very, very clear that if you have the centrepiece of a stadium that will be an iconic stadium anywhere in the world, and a club that has a reputation and a scope and a scale as Manchester United, then it would be a shame not to really eke out every ounce of the rest of that story. And that is where government and the public sector and external investors come into play, and that's why the creation of a mayoral development corporation, which will give strategic power for the acquisition of land, the creation of infrastructure, and the unlocking of other potentialities, is really critical.